Hi everyone and welcome to EFTV episode 10. Today I'm going to be taking you through my keyboard rig that I use for the trio and showing you some of the different equipment that I use to make the sounds that you hear when you come and see us play. A few announcements. So the Pizza Express gig on Monday the 20th of July in Soho. That is selling quite well, so if you want to secure a table, I recommend that you book now just to avoid not getting a table or it being sold out completely. So we are so thankful to everyone that has bought a ticket so far, and we are so excited about this gig. It's going to be amazing. The other thing to let you know, there is now a live video from a prog day in May available to view on YouTube. So massive thanks to John Warner, who has edited that for us, and the guys at Summit Productions for mixing the audio. Sounds amazing. So there's a video of Backseat Driver live from a prog day in May if you want to go and check that out. Go and search for that on YouTube. So before we get started, as you know, please like this video, subscribe or follow depending on where you're watching from, and I'm going to show you my keyboard rig. So this is the main core of what I take on the road, which is my Nord Stage 2EX and my Prophet 6. They are my workhorses and they generally kind of provide me with everything that I need. Depending on the venue, if they have a grand piano, then I may decide to take an additional controller with me. So I've got my MIDI controllers over here, but my main one that I would take would be my Arturia because it's got the same amount of keys. And what I would do is I would connect that via a MIDI cable to the Prophet 6. So it looks like I've got more keyboards than I have, and it confuses sound engineers sometimes, and I'm very sorry about that, guys. But it's actually just two keyboards essentially, or the piano. If you've seen us at Ronnie Scott's in the past, you may have noticed that I took my beautiful Wurlitzer, and this is featured on most of our recordings as well, from like Luma and Atomic especially. However, it is a very fragile instrument and they are prone to potentially going out of tune or the tines breaking. So, and they are really heavy as well. So in terms of like chucking it in the car, it's not the easiest thing to do, and I don't want to either because they are prone to breaking. Fortunately, I haven't had any issues with it. I'd love to gig it more often, but it's just one of those things. You just need equipment that's going to be reliable and work, and I don't really fancy having to take soldering irons and things with me, and some of my colleagues and friends do have to do that when they want to take their vintage gear on the road. So I don't actually know how old it is. I think they were made from 73 to 83, and I'm not sure you can actually trace the serial numbers because quite often they're made of different bits from different years and things like that. So it's quite common that they're just a bit of a mishmash of stuff. But anyway, onto the core of what I take on the road, which is my Nord. So that's responsible for kind of replicating that essentially. So that's just like the straight kind of whirly patch that I use. It's got a little bit of drive on there at the moment, but then I would run that through my pedal board, which is down here, and I will show you some of those. So the drives that I've used in the past, they've kind of like been a bit of a mixture of things, but this is what I'm using at the moment, which is the OCD. Okay. And occasionally I'll bust that out for like 2-bed flat or something, because when I have my ring mod on, it kind of gives me these kind of like really cool gnarly sounds. Almost with the delay as well, which I quite like at the moment. The phaser I haven't used for a little while, but occasionally I might bust that out, but I used to use that for trunk. And the solo in Hops and Scotch as well. I used to sort of have a little bit of fun with that kind of thing. My ring mod, now I sort of pinched this idea from Adam Holtzman. Well, I say I pinched this idea, it's kind of an iconic sound in itself anyway, but he essentially was the reason I bought it, because I was watching a rig rundown of his. And what I like about it is because on the Wurlitzer, traditionally, you've got your vibrato, but it's just one speed. And the knob on the Wurlitzer with the vibrato basically just tells you kind of how much vibrato you have. But at least with this, you're able to then vary the speed of the vibrato. So I'm just going to bring that in a little bit more. So this frequency is determining how fast my vibrato. So that's barely anything. And then that's just on low at the moment, but as soon as I put it on high, then you get those kind of Dalek noises. Which I use in sort of Shaky Jake and love it. But it just gives me a little bit more flexibility, so I actually use it with the Wurlitzer and this respectively, so it doesn't matter. And it's sort of a nice way of it feels, oh, sorry, it sort of feels like a synth as well sometimes. Let's see if I can just... a little bit gnarly. So the more you push it, basically, the more gnarly it gets, or more wobbly it gets. But you can get some really nice. So you can get some really nice soulful sounds with that. The delay I use quite a lot. It's got an inbuilt modulator as well, so that's sort of messing around with the pitch and things, and I use that for things like After the Rain, as I'm demonstrating here. I normally have the reverb on all the time, and depending on the venue will determine how much of it I use. So if it's a very boxy space, then I'll probably have a bit more, but quite often I only have it literally on, like, I don't know, 1 just to give it something, a sense of space essentially. So yeah, that's kind of the mix of pedals, and occasionally I might whack the delay on just to kind of give it a bit more space as well. If I'm taking a solo and I feel like I need to kind of like take it somewhere, might hit the drive, might hit the delay, just to give it a little bit more oomph. And then really with the Nord, I'm essentially just using, well, actually a mixture of 4 sounds. So we're kind of moving a little bit away from the kind of traditional piano stuff at the moment. So I think on the set list for Monday, as an example, there's only like 2 songs which have piano. So I'm not actually going to be using acoustic piano. So I will be using this just for those 2 songs. And then I use, well, we've been using the, like, CP80 sort of samples quite a lot recently. So things like Don't Forget to Feed the Orchid. So here's just the raw CP80. But I actually layer a synth with that. And then that's also featured in Kite and Crow when I do my solo in the middle of that. And also a new tune that we've been working on, which is called Be So Still. And what I've got going on here is I've mapped the pedal to bring in, the expression pedal to bring in a synth layer on that. So I can play there, which kind of just gives me an extra layer of expression in a slightly different way. So it's not yes, it's volume, but just allowing me to sort of balance the dynamic with texture, and also just provide movement within the arrangement itself as well. What else are we using? There's actually, I lied. There's more stuff going on, which is why I'm using this a little bit more. So actually, in another new tune called Stone Age, I'm using a combination of organ sounds. So I've got a Vox, whatever it is, and then I've also got a Hammond kind of pattern. Which is the only track that I use organ on, but we're just at the moment we're just experimenting with a few different things, and trying some new ideas. And then another example, again, I'm using CP80 in this as well, which is one of our newest tunes, which is called The Water Thief, and that's got a few different synths and stuff going on as well. So let's see what. It's a bit more of a kind of modern vibe. Actually, no, that's this one. That's why if before a tune you see me just sort of looking like, what the hell am I doing? It's just a lot to remember sometimes. And then, yeah. So I might just show you that one first as a good example of what the Prophet is responsible for and how they work in tandem. So got this arpeggiator that's running as a sort of intro thing and a texture. And then I've got the lead. So then when I play them together, I've got this layer here. So we've got this section here. And then I'm kind of like jumping around between all of those different sounds. Originally, I programmed this all on Main Stage, and when we toured earlier in the year to France, I was considering cloning all of this on Main Stage. However, I wasn't brave enough to do it because I love the real-time hardware effects that I get here, so I'll demonstrate that in a second. As to why I wanted to take this synth in particular, so we took my Prophet and I outsourced a Nord and took my pedal board. But with Main Stage, what I did is I also added some, like those extra synth layers that I demonstrated. I sort of added those and took one of my other my smaller Arturia controller as a sort of just thing to have on the side, so that I could trigger that sort of thing. But originally that tune, The Water Thief, I had it all mapped out on Main Stage, because it was a good way of kind of just zipping into the different sections, but it just ended up having a few latency issues and things like that, stuff that could easily be rectified. But I thought actually there was one of the first gigs we did this year. I had this, I had a piano, I had my main stage project, I had SOAT, and then I had my controller. And I just thought, this is way too much hassle. As cool as all of this looks, this is just way too much hassle. So we've gone back to basics, and I've mapped all of it and created a load of patches so that I can perform that pretty much as live as possible. So going back to why I was insisting that I take this synth is between Lydian Child and Two Bed Flat on Mars, I do a segue moment, which used to be Broken Kingdom Part 1 into Two Bed Flat on Mars. So I have a little loop sequencer thing that's going on, and what's great about that is that I can then just muck around with it, just to sort of evoke the mood of what's going on in the moment. So let's see. So what I'm doing here is just manipulating the LFO frequency, and then I kind of change that shape around the waveform. Messing around with the pitch here. So if I want to, I could just kind of work with that. Well, I've got an extra layer of something that I didn't expect. That's okay. But you know what? If it behaves itself, which it isn't now, which is really convenient. Where am I getting that extra layer from? That's interesting. So anyway, when all goes to plan, it will behave itself and everything will be great. And then I do some cool stuff with the Wurlitzer and the pedals, so I'll just get that loaded up. So this is when we say we're taking you into space, essentially. So what I'm doing by manipulating the delay time is it creates like a pitch bend effect. If I put the mix up. So you can hear that a little bit better if I take that off. And then I sort of muck around with the sort of harmony and stuff as well at the same time. So yeah, that's in essence some of the capability that I have with this instrument, but just to show you a variety of the patches that I use on the Prophet. So that then goes into this. And then I've got, so that's Two Bed Flat on Mars, and then I've got my lead that I use quite a lot, but this is mainly for like the Kite and the Crow. bottom we've got just sort of like the again, After the Rain leads. We've got Lydian Child. Oh no. Like so, and then we've got a few new things. And so on. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of it, really. So quite a simple setup, but with a lot of things kind of going on, I suppose, which is why I'm sort of tap dancing and doing this. But well, it's just to sort of avoid taking lots of gear, but gives me the options to just sort of elevate the sound as much as possible with as little going on, or making it as simple as possible. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and hopefully that's just given you a little bit more insight into my rig. And hopefully we'll see you on Monday as well, and look forward to seeing you next week for episode 11. See you later, guys.